Right. The hardest scene to make in this movie was the scene where Peter and Mr. McGregor fight, because they have a physical fist fight. And even though it takes about 2 minutes to watch in the movie, it took 5 full days to shoot. And that's because Domhnall Gleeson, the actor, had to fight and be thrown around by something that wasn't there. And that took an incredible talent by Domhnall to make it feel real, and an incredible talent by the animators to put it together. So that was the hardest scene in the movie. So the way we made these characters real, we really wanted to make them feel like real animals. So if you stopped the movie for a second and froze it, they would look like real animals. So the animators took the actual skeletal structure of each animal and made sure that those bones were put into the computer, so the animals could only move the way that real animals could move, because we really wanted them to feel real, yet we wanted them to emote like humans too. So that was a very difficult task that the animators lived up to. The particular scene to look out for, I think all the scenes where you actually see the beautiful Lake District, when you see the mountains and the water, and we actually shot where Beatrix Potter wrote these books. So any scene that you actually see the rabbits or Domhnall Gleeson or Rose Byrne in the countryside, you really feel like you're there in the Lake District in the United Kingdom, and that's one of my most favorite parts of the movie. We filmed this movie all real, so every scene you see in this movie is actually filmed. Then we put the animation in. There's nothing created in the computer. So everything you see is real, except we then put in the animals. So 100% of the movie is backgrounds are real, and I'd say about 70% of the movie there is an animated character in the scene. But there's never any part of the movie where it's all animated. So Peter, I think this movie takes place a little bit after the books Beatrix Potter. It takes place after in time, because in this movie, Peter Rabbit's mother has already passed away, so it's time. So if you can imagine, everybody has a cute child, but everyone's cute child grows up to become all of us. So this is the exploration of Peter as he matures from child to adult. There's 2 Blu-ray extras, I believe. It's the Flopsy Mopsy Cottontail, it's the 3 Sisters, and it's the making of Peter Rabbit, right? I didn't make that movie, so I don't know how to answer that question. In the future movies, I can tell you that Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail have big parts in the movie. As I said, every trailer for this movie is different in every country. The Japanese trailer is actually one of my favorite trailers, because it highlights what I like about the movie the most, which is the romance between Rose and Domhnall, Mr. McGregor and Bee, and it really highlights the beautiful Lake District and the kawaii nature of the animals, and that to me has always been the elegance of the movie and the DNA of the movie. So the Japanese trailer to me is spot on. When I was here, when I was here, I didn't watch that much anime. I watched much more like variety shows. Like I was saying, like I watched all the time. I watched like Waratte Itomo. I watched that all the time. I watched a lot of sumo. My mother would only let us watch stuff in Japanese, even though I really wanted to watch the Baringaru stuff. She wouldn't let us watch that. And the variety shows like Naruhodo Zawarudo and stuff, we could figure that out. So those are my favorite shows, that kind of goofy comedy. And of course, also I watched a lot of the Terebi Taranto, like the Kent Derikato and the Kent Giribarto, all those. Yeah. Right, that's why. So James Corden, I know him from many years ago, and I've always wanted to work with him. I thought he's extremely funny. He's won Tony Awards, Emmys. He can sing, he can dance, he can do anything. And we needed a voice that could embody that, but just the voice. And Peter Rabbit didn't really come alive to me until I started recording with James. And once you have that kind of, the mischievous, James has the amazing ability to say stuff that you shouldn't say that might be rude, but because it comes from him, you kind of accept it. And that's exactly the character of Peter. So James and Peter are very similar, and I've always wanted to work with James, and this is the only way I could have done it. To the DVD. The message is this is just for the DVD and Blu-ray release, yeah. Well, first of all, buy the Blu-ray. Spend the extra 100 yen and buy the Blu-ray. Secondly, watching the movie at home is actually fun, because you can actually, there's so much that happens in this movie that you don't watch, that you don't get on the first viewing of this movie. So many of the animals are doing stuff in the background. The perfect example of this is the party scene when they have the party in the beginning. Every animal is doing something specific and funny that comes back later in the other scenes that you can watch on a big screen and completely miss. And if you have the DVD, you really get to see what happens. And it also comes back later in the movie. So you can really focus on what you want to watch, and you can only do that at home.